You want to be a producer, you have to find the way to get it done. You have to keep everybody calm. And you have to be extremely prepared. So you have the answer for everything. Hi, this is Chazz Palminteri. Welcome to the show. It's Monday at 11 o'clock. You know what that means. Monday at 11 o'clock. Hit that like button and subscribe. You want to get the latest of life and other bullshit. You want to get the latest of the girls, me and the girls, Catherine Larducci and Tara Tracy. You want to get the latest of all the acts we got coming up on the show. Subscribe and hit that like button. Don't forget, you want to come and see my one-man show, go to ChazzPalminteri.net, and you'll see I finished the tour for this year starting 2025. It starts in February. Check it out. I will be doing the one-man show at a city near you. My restaurants. I got two of the best Italian restaurants in the city and in New York. One in White Plains, 264 Main Street, and the other one, 30 West 46th Street, right off Fifth Avenue. Been there for 10 years. They're like staples, man. Signature dishes, great food, romantic place. You'll have a great time. And sometimes you'll see me there. I go there a lot. I go there and I go to White Plains. And if you say that you watch the podcast, you get a free after-dinner drink or handmade dessert that we make. We make our own desserts there at Chazz Palminteri. Great desserts. Also, it's Christmas time, folks. On the website, ChazzPalminteri.net, you can buy shirts. Now you can't leave. You can buy sweatshirts for your lovely wives or your girlfriends. You are one of the great ones. So many great things. Photos. You could even get a shout out. I'll send you out a shout out. Just go on the line, ChazzPalminteri.net, and set it up. So many great things, folks. So, John, this is one of those episodes where they ask fans questions. The fans have questions, life, and other bullshit. What do we got for today, John?
First question comes from Marco. It says, what's the best way to rebuild trust after someone has betrayed you? Do you ever think it's fully possible?
Well, yeah, I think it matters what it is. If it's a real serious thing, I don't know if you could ever get back the trust that you had. You have to, just as hard as it was when you broke it, you have to work that hard to get it back. That's a very tough question. I think you got to work on it. Can it ever be back to the way it was? Probably not. But it could be close. I'm not saying that, sometimes circumstances, people lie, and it matters what it is. I think it matters what they broke, the promise that they broke. If the promise is not a life or death thing or something that you could forgive, I guess you can get back the trust. But if it's something that's real serious, what's his name?
Marco,
I don't know. But if you think it's worth it, you try it. And if you both think it's worth it to get back that trust, you give it a shot. That's my answer to that.
Next question comes from Chris. It says, life has been overwhelming lately. How do you personally slow down and find moments of peace and enjoy life?
Well, you have to consciously say that you're going to slow down. I like to work out. I work out in the morning. I think working out, you release the serotonins in your body. And they prove that working out and discipline to work out lives longer. You live longer and you're more healthy. They say, now it's not, working out is not just for your body, it's for your mind. They did a whole study on people who live longer, who are happier, exercise. They say exercise is 5 times better than any drug, any vitamin, any single thing that you can do for longevity. A walk, just a walk. Could you walk a half hour? You get with your wife and you go for a nice walk every night, every morning. 30 minutes. Then maybe you can get it up to 45. A leisurely walk. That's the beauty of this study. Not like power walking, fast. No. 65% of your capacity. Just continuously without stopping. There's nothing more healthier than for your body than that. Exercise is very, very important. They did this whole thing on this part of your brain. Oh my God, I can't remember the term. But they say the people who do things that they don't want to do. So, in other words, they do it because of discipline. Look, I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I have a late night. I don't feel like working out. I want to stay in bed. I want to just relax. I want to sit there, watch things on TV, veg, look at the internet. But sometimes I go, oh, if I don't work out now, I'm not going to do it. So I force myself to do it. So people who force themselves to do things that they don't want to do, you build up this like muscle in the brain. And they found that the people who lived the longest, the muscle, this muscle or tendon or whatever it is, I don't know the medical term, was always like big. People who died early, that muscle was, and I say the word muscle, that was small in the cortex of the brain. So either you pay now or you pay later. So I rather pay now. So I think to relax, do things. Forward motion makes you relax. Exercise, doing things you love to do. Not living in the past, not living in the future. The past, you worry about things that happened already in the past. In the future, you worry about things that haven't happened yet. Just live in the future. Just live in the present every day. That's it. It'll help you relax.
This one's a good one for you. This one's from James. It says, I'm looking to self-produce a short film that I wrote. What are some tips that you could give, and what are some things that I should be aware of? I'm sure that I'm missing a few things considering this is my first time self-producing.
Well, if I knew a little more about it, it would help. But I would say, especially if it's a short film, well, in any film, be extremely prepared. Make sure the director knows what he's doing. You have the right camera people. You know how many days you're going to shoot. You have the right budget. You have enough money to finish it. You have an idea of the music you're going to use if you need music. How much that music could cost. If you can't use that song, you got to use it. In other words, the more prepared you are, the better you'll be when you start the movie. Because shit happens. And a movie is like a bowling ball going down a hill. Once it starts, you can't stop it. It's like it's too much money involved, too many things going on, a lot of fires. As a producer has to put out fires. And I think the real key about the producer is he has to have the director's back, keep everybody calm. When everybody's losing their head, as they say in the poem by Robert Kipling, you have to keep yours. We'll find a way. John Killick is a friend of mine, one of the great producers in the world. Produced Bronx Tale, all the Spike Lee movies, The Hunger Games. I mean, and the real key with John is he's always calm. You never see him yelling. He's never panicked. He finds a way to get it done. And that's what I have to tell you, my friend. You want to be a producer, you have to find a way to get it done. You have to keep everybody calm. And you have to be extremely prepared. So you have the answer for everything. What happens if you lose that location? Have another one in mind. What happens if you're shooting over? Can you stay over? Is this your last day there? Is there an option to come back tomorrow? All things you should think about. Very important. Okay.
Well, I had a few questions. I mean, if you can go back in time, because you just self-produced your Bronx Tale film.
Yes.
If you could go back in time to the beginning of production, and obviously we didn't know it was going to get as big as it did, what are some of the things back in the beginning of production that you would have thought of or done differently?
I think number one is the music that I was using in the show that I was going to use in the film, I would have made sure I cleared that first. Because if I had to use another song, which I did a couple of times, it wouldn't have been such a last minute thing. I mean, that's the number one thing. I would have made sure of that. I would have absolutely made sure that I wanted to be positive, that I could separate the dialogue from the music. I would have, even though it worked out okay, but I would have been prepared for that in the beginning instead of all of a sudden getting prepared. All of a sudden it came up on me. I said, "Oh, we got to take care of this." So I think being more prepared is the great thing, and trusting the cameraman, trusting the director and the producers. That's important.
Next one comes from Sarah. It says, what advice would you give to someone who's constantly second-guessing their decisions and feeling paralyzed by what ifs?
Yeah, well, that's called, they call that syndrome paralysis by analysis. Where you just overthink the problem, guys. You have to make a decision, then you got to go for it. If you look at all the pitfalls, the ups and downs, and you say, hey, I got to make a decision here. Make the decision and live with it. Because no decision is a bad decision. Every decision is either you fail, well, you couldn't even say fail. Either it doesn't work or you learn. You learn for the next time. Shit. Take the advice of other people. But in the end, if it's your film, you have to make the final decision. And it's called putting on your big boy pants and living with it. That's life. What's her name? Sarah?
Sarah, yep.
Sarah. That's it. There's no way you're going to know for sure. Nobody knows. That's why being an artist is very hard and very risky, but that's just the way it is. If it was easy, then everybody would do that. So slap on your big boy pants and just do it.
Victor's asking, not asking, Victor said, you've played many characters who face difficult moral choices. In your own life, how do you decide what's truly the right thing to do?
Who's this?
Victor.
Victor, how do I know in life what's the right thing to do? I mean, come on, you know what's right or wrong, Victor. That's not hard. I mean, I know what the right thing to do is. If I do this, this is going to happen. If I do that, that's going to happen. I know that. So the idea, Victor, is to try to make the moral choice. Now, how do you make the moral choice? You could look at it a few ways. You could look at you could say, okay, does this decision bring me closer to my goal or farther away from my goal? You could say that to yourself. Or, if it's a moral thing, you could say, does this decision bring me closer to God or farther away from God? Your goal, your God, anything like that. And whatever the answer is, that's your answer. That's your answer. I could tell you one thing. Whenever you do a decision based on guilt or money, it will come back to bite you in the ass. Always. Always. You make a decision based on guilt or money. It never works out. Never. I don't know why. Because it wasn't the right decision. And a lot of people don't want to face people and tell them their feelings. I mean, I had a guy who wanted to be in one of my movies, a friend. And he was okay. He's not a bad actor. But there were people who came in for the part that were better than him. A lot better. And then finally I told him, I said, look, there's people that are better than you. And he said, but I'm your friend. I said, yes, you are. But you're not ready to play this part. So if I put you in this movie, I'm doing you a disservice because you're not going to look good. You're not going to look good in the role because the role is too much for you. And two, I'm going to look bad because I got the wrong actor in the role. That's putting somebody in because of guilt. And you both look bad. So what did you accomplish? What? Nothing. Next.
Next is from Nina. I've recently moved to a new city and I'm having a hard time making new friends. Any advice for building genuine connections as an adult?
Wow. Nina, babe. I think the more you stay home and wallow in not meeting any friends, you're in a new city, the worse it is. I think go to groups. They have these writers groups. They have exercise groups. You go to a gym class. You go to a workout class. You meet people at a chess place if you play chess. Take your dog to the park, meet people there. Meet people in your building, get to know them, knock on a door, bake them a cake. You gotta be proactive. Go online. Line is a great way to meet people where you go, oh, they're having a chat room here. I mean, just do your due diligence, be careful. But you go on, you meet people in certain things, you get to know people, get to talk to them. What is your interest? You have movie interests. You love the movies, find a cinema group. You love writing, find a writing group. You like to dance, go ballroom dancing. I mean, you have to get out there and do something. Forward motion. Like I always tell people, forward motion. The world doesn't come to you. You have to go get the world. Life is something that you have to go get. Nobody's going to knock on your door and say, hey, come out and play. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You have to go out there. If you're going to fall forward. If you're going to slip, fall forward. If you're going to walk forward. You're going to run, forward. Everything has to be forward. I can guarantee it, if you stop going forward and you stop and you sit down, what's going to happen? People will run over you. Just think of that. Look at the racehorse with the blinders on. He just sees forward. That's why they put the blinders on a racehorse. They don't want the horse to look at somebody on his left or right who's catching up to him. Just look at the finish line. Move forward. That's my answer to that.
Love that answer. Next one comes from Emily. It says, do you believe that tough times make people stronger, or do you think it just reveals who they really are?
Well, it's both. It makes people stronger, and it makes them see who they really are. Where, wow, I can't believe I could get through this. And that's the amazing thing about tough times. Tough times make a person strong because if you go through them now, if you go through those tough times, it makes a person strong. Think about it. Think about the times you had to go through something really hard. Death in the family. Someone was very ill in the family. You maybe were very ill and got over a very serious illness. anything like that. Losing a job, losing money. It's coming back. It's how you are coming back. Because Shakespeare said, nothing is bad, it's all in the mind. I believe that. You say to yourself, I could survive anything. Anything. And I believe that intellectually. I mean, there's some things there I go, I don't know if I could survive that. So I say that to myself sometimes. But I try, and I hope to God I never have to be tested for things like that. But if you believe in your heart that you could survive anything, that's a start. As opposed to believing, I hope this doesn't happen to me because I'll never survive this. That's not a good start. You know, there was a great saying. I'm probably going to mess it up, but you remember that saying, John? Hard times
create strong men create good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times.
That's it. That's it. I mean, weak men create hard times. Strong men create good times. That's been life. That's been the history of life ever since. You know, I said this on a show in my play, you know. Dopamine comes from pleasure. And I wrote this in my play. Dopamine comes from pleasure, like sex, drugs, alcohol, chocolate, indulging and gouging in food. You get a sense of dopamine. That's dopamine. Serotonin, which makes you feel better about your life, is in your body, but that comes from achievements. Happiness, family, love, friends, long-term goals. It's different. The only thing that could kill serotonins in the body is dopamine. So the more pleasure you seek, the more unhappy you become. It's crazy. But the more serotonins you get, the happier you become. You know, they did a study on people, I can't remember where. It was a nurse at hospice. Now, here's a nurse who was a hospice nurse for 30 years. So she spoke to a lot of people on their last breath. You know, the family wasn't there yet. They wanted somebody there, so she was there with them. And she said, not one person, not one, ever said, tell me about all the things all the money I have. How many boats do I have? How many cars do I have? Tell me. They always said they want their family to come right away. They want the people that love them around them. They want the people that they love around them. Their wives, family, kids. That's a life. So what are we looking for? Life. In life, love. Love is the answer that you would want at the end of your lifetime. Forget about the rule that whoever has the most toys wins. That's bullshit. Anybody who believes that, you know what? I'm sorry. You don't really know the meaning of life. I've seen it. I've been with people. I have friends who are huge stars and I work with. And sometimes some of those people are very unhappy. And you say, how could they be unhappy? sometimes they're seeking the wrong thing, you know. I always look at my life as the glass is half full, not half empty. I'm playing with house money. My life is house money all the way. I've been so fortunate to do the things that I do all these years and to still be successful. I'm extremely happy. I'm blessed. I'm grateful. Grateful is the key. You got to be grateful. We're made of atoms of energy. The universe is made up of the same energy, atoms, same as us. So if we are part of the universe, how the universe affects us, we could affect the universe. So I always say, visualize happiness, visualize that your success, visualize everything that you can. Become part of the universe. I know it sounds corny, maybe. It sounds idealistic. But you know what, folks? It works. It works. It does. Be happy, be grateful, and a good life will come your way.
Want to do one more?
Yeah,
We got time for one more.
yeah.
So this one comes from Rosa. It says, when you look back at your life, what's one moment or decision that you're especially proud of and why?
Oh, Rosa, Rosa, Rosa. Oh, God. I would have to say that, but there were moments before this moment, but only because I say this because it's the most famous moment about me that people know, is when I turned down $1 million and I had $200 in the bank. And they wanted me to give A Bronx Tale away because they saw the one-man show. And it won all these awards, but they didn't want me. They wanted to put a star on the role and have somebody else write the script about my life. And I refused. And I walked away from $250, $500, $1 million. And I had $200 in the bank. And then one day, as the story, you know the story. I was doing the show, and Robert De Niro saw the show at this theater in L.A. and came backstage and told me he wanted to make this his next movie, and not to worry that I would play Sonny and I would write the story of my life. And we shook hands, and that's the way it was. I think that was one of the best decisions I ever made. I would have to say that.
I would say it was probably the best.
Yeah, the best. I made a few other ones that, not walking into a door that I was supposed to go, and thank God I'm alive today. But listen, I love these things about life and about this. I love the questions these people come up with. That's great. Now, listen, don't forget, go to chazzpalminteri.net if you want to see the one-man show. There's a whole schedule there. LCG cigars, right?
LCG cigars.
LCG cigars or wine. You could pick it up. Paulie DeSilvio and my partner. Great Christmas gift, a box of Bronx Tale cigars. The Immigrant cigar. My wine, the Immigrant wine. Chazz Cabernet. You can pick it up at Stu Leonard's or anywhere, but especially Stu Leonard's. Good deal there. Thank you. Check out my restaurant, especially for Christmas. I'm going to be there a lot. 264 Main Street, 30 West 46th Street in Manhattan. God bless, and we'll see you next week.